The Racial Justice Action Center has actually been a grand experiment, and it came about in many ways out of a desire of myself and a core group of people who really wanted to try some new ways of organizing. Exciting news of 2020 is that the two projects that the Racial Justice Action Center has been incubating, Women on the Rise and the Solutions Not Punishment Collaborative, are spinning off into their own powerful independent organizations. And we want to tell the world about what we've been doing the last 7 years and get everybody excited about what the spin-offs mean and what these organizations are going to do in the next 7 years. So the police department had come together with some of our council members to propose banishing people who were convicted of street-level sex work. And the real push was actually about ridding Midtown of trans women and trans women of color in particular. And that was when we met Ms. Dee Dee Chamblee, Executive Director of Legender Incorporated, and BT, the Executive Director of Transforming. Both were long-standing trans-led organizations.
We came together because a group of people that no one ever considered human beings, considered worthy enough to be spoken for, given the dignity to live their lives for, and we came together to stand up for them.
When we pushed back and defeated the banishment ordinance at the City of Atlanta level, we really came together to say, as a collaborative, as a coalition, you know, we could have just left it at that, but what else did we want to do? Did we want to go on? Was there more to fight for? And we agreed that we wanted to stick together.
Before I Jack, I was several things was working. I had just transitioned from old life to a new one. I realized that at that moment, I've been to prison 6 times. I'm just not going back for 7th time. And Judge Lovett, my God, he was the man that I said, I'm just not going back to prison no more. You keep sending me to prison, I'm gonna keep coming back shoplifting. He didn't send me back to prison. It started out, I met Socho, and like I've said so many times, she started wooing me about starting an organization.
She says I wooed her, which is true. So I wooed Ms. Marilyn to come and partner to build a project that she was dreaming of, which really was about organizing formerly incarcerated women and organizing to end the cycles that put women behind bars.
When she built RJAC and Women on the Rise became a project under RJAC, and why Women on the Rise is because I'm formerly incarcerated. The work I wanted to do was to support formerly incarcerated women of color to be able to have a voice for themselves, to mobilize around policies that impact our lives. I just wanted formerly incarcerated women of color to step up and be the courageous women, strong women that we are.
When we started building and working together, I think maybe that's the biggest, is like I could see the potential for power. But I did have that sense that the people who were at the core, that like BT and Ms. Dee Dee and myself and Ms. M, who was like less in the center at that time and then more later, but that together, and Everett and Juan. Because that was who was there, and Evelyn as well, like that there was a core crew and that was the right crew.
Before RJAC, I was working at a HIV-specific organization. I was a community educator doing, testing for HIV and STDs, and I was let go from that organization and was engaging in sex work. I had met Ms. Dee Dee Chamblee at a meeting, and she told me about SNAPCO. And about a week later, Tori Cooper sent me an email and said, "Tony Michelle, you should apply to this job. I think it's fit perfect for you." And in the description of the job description, it was like, we're looking for a fierce and fabulous organizer. And I was like, oh my God, that's me.
We knew we wanted to hire someone to run our internship program, because we wanted to have an internship program specifically focused on trans leadership.
I applied, and I got an interview, and I remember my first interview, I had just landed a date. The interview was gonna start. She texted me, was like, "Ooh, could you do this?" I had to reschedule something. I was like, "Yes, I can."
Toni Michelle tells the story of how when I first called her for an interview, she was in a hotel engaged in some sex work up on the north side of town, and I never knew that at the time because we just had a wonderful interview talking about all her credentials and the wonderful work she was going to do, and I had no idea if she was maybe outside a hotel door waiting for a friend.
She invited me for an in-person interview, and I came in, and the energy in the space felt great. And I just felt like it would be my home.
And then one day, this amazingly beautiful young woman came into our office to interview, and I met her and knew she was the perfect person instantly. We hired her at that point to run that program. She grew into an organizer, and then into the director of the project of Solutions Not Punishment, and now will be the executive director of Solutions Not Punishment Collaborative.
Not many models there was in the model.
No.
Yeah. No. That was the joy of it, is being able to create something that have not been created, and have people recognize it and see it as where we were working on it, they was looking at it as being perfect, which made it even better. You know.
Okay. We had more time to fuck up. Nobody knew.
So we straighten it out as it goes. The work that we have done have changed the way of policing in some ways, and it's changing the culture of people not wanting to see people in jail and understanding that people need services. Anytime a person continues to go to jail, there's something wrong there. Nobody likes to be in a cage.
Yeah, to be a Black trans woman, at the table, not just being informed by decisions, but to also make the decisions.
It's inspiring for other people, other trans women, other formerly incarcerated women that didn't have a clue or idea that, or even a thought that could come up out of the rut that they're in and become a director of organization.
Yes.
To lead an organization.
SNAPCO is different. This has been an organization for the people and by the people since its inception. And we have built beautiful, powerful people.
Mm-hmm. For better or for worse, we're family. And we've been family. And now the family, it's like when someone gets married or someone gets divorced or something, it's like it's not like that people aren't in your life, but the relationships shift. And that's what I can feel happening, and that has excitement and sadness and loss in it. My hope for the project, I feel very excited about what I feel like is the next stage of this experiment. And I feel like both projects, now organizations, get to experiment with lessons learned behind them. Leadership development takes time, transformation takes time. And if we're really gonna build with one another, it will always be a very precarious unity unless we've put in the real time and effort to go deeper and to transform ourselves and the collective body.
We know that we came back to a lot of different changes, and mainly that our organizations are thriving and on our own. And so we are still family. We are still sharing space and connected together. So we all are really walking into a season of just grace and abundance, and there's so much work to be done.